Okay, after Beetlejuice's video asking if he was wrong about boar and his subsequent trials with a boar brush, I just thought I would go ahead and demonstrate this point to further show that these Omega boars can probably produce lather from a stone. I gave my wife on Monday the Omega Pro 48, and she has been using that. She's used it 3 times now, and on the in-between days I have been building lather in my palm with just some Doc Bronners. And I thought I would illustrate how well this brush works. I'm just going to get it wet. I'm not even going to soak it, so it's not going to hold very much water at all. And then I'm going to put a very little amount of Doc Bronners on the brush. Those of you that know that soap know that it's wonderful soap, but it doesn't get very foamy. If you put it in a foaming dispenser, it will, but unless you add more glycerin to the soap, it doesn't foam very much. You know, I'm going to go ahead and just illustrate that with my hands. You can see, got a small amount, probably nickel-sized amount of soap. And if I really work hard here, you can see about how lathery I can get, you know. Full disclosure here, the lather on the sides of my hands. You know, great soap, not super lather building. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just get this brush wet off the tap. You know, make sure it is nice and wet, although I'm not going to give it a soak. Get the excess out. Putting the same amount of soap into the brush. And just going to build some lather in my palm. I'm sure you can see the huge difference here. And this is still thin, but the great thing about these boars is, you know, as the little amount of water needed comes off of them, they just keep building it. And it gets thicker and creamier and more luxurious as you go along. Whether you're building it in the mug with your soap or in a bowl, in your palm, on your face, it just seems to do a spectacular job. You know, I've heard that the horsehair builds even better. I've yet to try it. I'm eager to. But I just, you know, I mean, come on, guys. This much lather off of a few drops of Doc Bronners with a brush that isn't even soaked. That's pretty amazing. I'd like to see most badger brushes perform this well, this easily. So, I'd also like to show how well this brush soap loads. All that just came out of the center of the brush. This nice, thick, luxurious lather for subsequent passes on your face. Let me just show you what we have here. Okay, that's a few drops of Doc Bronner soap. So anyone that's new or considering going with something like the Tweezerman Badger or other very low-end Badger brush, consider the boar hair, because the Omega boar hair builds lather very quickly out of almost anything. It's hard to screw up your water to soap ratio, and you get a nice creamy luxurious lather out of it in very little time. So I just wanted to illustrate that to you, give you a different perspective, and kind of show you that the boar is definitely worth it. I should also note that boar typically takes, 4 to 6 weeks to break in, which is why I'm doing the palm lathering for my wife. This brush has only been lathered 6 or 7 times, so it's not even as good as it's going to get. So hopefully this illustrated my point well enough, and some of you considering the low-end Badger will consider the nicer boar. Thanks.